Hey guys, it's very late in the evening. It's 10:30 something right now, and I came back home from the office from Move to Prague, relocation experts. Like an hour ago, I just had a really great Indian food for dinner, and here I am with with a new live stream because it's been a very crazy day. I've been to the Ministry of the Interior today, had a couple of meetings in the office, and had plenty of emails to reply after the weekend. So I couldn't do it earlier, but hopefully some of you will join and or you will watch it later as a recording on my YouTube or Facebook or somewhere else. So let's jump into the topic, and today's topic will be more practical from like daily life perspective, and the topic is banks in the Czech Republic, because there are basically three types of banks in the Czech Republic. Those big old banks, then the completely online banks, and then something in between. And I will talk about the differences and the pros and cons, and like what are the advantages and disadvantages of each type. So stick with me, and if you're not watching live, then go to my YouTube channel and watch it there. So pros and cons of the big old banks. Big old banks, that means the biggest one, which have always been here for the last 20 years or even before that. And like some example of that can be okay, it's very late, guys. Sorry for that. So pros and cons of the big old banks. So for you to know what I mean by big and old banks, I mean those banks who have the biggest amount of branches and who've been here forever. Like those are the old established big banks, proper banks. They have some advantages. The main advantage being that they have branches and ATMs everywhere. So if you need to go to a branch to sort out something, or if you want to withdraw cash from the ATM, you find their ATMs or branches anywhere. So it's very convenient. On the other hand, they need to pay for all this. So the main disadvantage of the old big banks is that you usually need to pay them a lot of money, and sometimes also very crazy fees, because there is a competition, or I don't know how to call it, but every year someone chooses the most strange or most stupid payments or fees of banks, and some of the fees are very, very stupid. So these big banks usually win it, because you often need to pay for like sending money to each other's account. Sometimes even now I'm frozen. Okay, I'm back on Facebook. So sometimes even if you want to deposit money to your own account, you need to pay money. If you want to withdraw your own money, you need to pay money. So those fees are the main disadvantage of the big old banks. But if you're kind of the old school type and you want to go sort out something in a physical branch, and you want to have the branch close to you, and you want to have this convenience, then the big old banks are very good. Then on the other side, there are those completely online banks. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of Czech online banks? So obviously the advantage is that they are completely online. So if you're like a modern type of person and you don't really want to go to any branches, or you don't care about this stuff, then the online banks might be perfect for you, because you can usually do everything online. You don't need to go to any branches to do anything. So it's more convenient. Another thing is that they usually don't charge any fees or very low fees, because they don't have branches. They don't have many ATMs, so they don't have anything to pay for actually. So they don't need to charge you fees. So it's great advantage as well. On the other hand, they don't have branches, and they don't really have many ATMs. So, and often they also don't work with cash. So if you want to deposit money to your bank account, you either need to find that one ATM which accepts deposits, or you need to go to a post office and deposit it somehow through the post office. Or if you need to sort out something like physically, because not everything can be done online or through a phone, then it might be difficult because they have very limited amount of branches. So that was like advantages and disadvantages of the online banks. And the third category is like the pros and cons of the like in between banks. So they're not really the old big ones. They're not really completely online. So something in between. Those banks are the ones which have branches, often also work with cash, but they're not that big. So you don't need to pay for all their employees and all their shiny branches and everything. And you can still do many things online. So they also often don't charge fees if you meet some conditions. Usually for the online banks, you don't really need to meet any condition. Just you have a bank account with them and that's it. And you have it for free. With these banks, something in between. Usually you need to meet some conditions, but the conditions are usually very easy to meet. So you need to receive at least 15,000 crowns a month, and then you need to make at least 3 outgoing payments. So either withdraw cash or pay by card or just transfer money to someone. So that's usually pretty easy to meet. So in conclusion, I would say that these in-between banks are the best option if you're looking to open a bank account in the Czech Republic. But even the big old banks or even the small completely online banks have their own advantages. So hopefully this was helpful. Agnello Andrews, hi mate, nice to see you. Agnello is one of the few of you who come to every live stream I do. So thank you very much for that and welcome here again. And now one question which we are being asked pretty often, and that's what do you need to open a bank account in the Czech Republic? I must say that this has changed in the couple last years, because 3 years ago, the only thing you needed to open a bank account in the Czech Republic was a passport. You could go to any bank and they would open a bank account for you within 20 minutes and that was done. It was very, very easy. But it changed about 2 or 3 years ago. And now most of the banks will not open a bank account for you if you don't have a valid visa or residence permit in the Czech Republic. I guess it's about money laundering. They want to prevent people from just opening bank accounts but not really using them. There have been some new regulations from the EU as well, but I don't know exactly what's the reason. But the outcome is that now you usually need to prove that you will really be using the account, that you have some ties to the Czech Republic. So usually most of the banks want to see that you already have a visa or residence permit, or that you have a lease agreement or employment contract, or any other ties, that you, for example, will be studying in the Czech Republic, so you've been accepted to studies, or that you have a business in the Czech Republic. They just want to see some connection between you and the Czech Republic and see that you will not just be using the money, the bank account to launder money, but that you will really be using it on a regular basis. So that's it. There are still some banks which might not require that much, that many documents to open a bank account for you. Usually your passport and maybe a lease agreement or something is needed. But most of especially the big old banks, they might sometimes even want 2 IDs, so passport plus 1 more ID, so a driver's license or a national ID if you're from the EU, for example, and then some connection to the Czech Republic. Yeah, so that was basically it. This was kind of Kirtiraj, okay, that's a question from YouTube. Hi Jan, how about Revolut? Well, honestly, yeah, okay, that's another. Okay, that's actually a good point. Thank you very much, Kirti, because this is something I didn't even think about, because Revolut and similar companies, they all have somehow presence in the Czech Republic, and we've been receiving money, for example, for our services at Move to Prague. People have been paying through TransferWise or Revolut or other platforms as well, and it works. We usually receive the money pretty swiftly. Also platforms like PayPal or similar, so that works here as well. Most of them, I haven't met any problems that some of them would not open a bank account for a Czech person, or that they would not work in the Czech Republic. On the other hand, I'm not sure how convenient it is, because with the banks which operate officially in the Czech Republic, if you need to deposit money to your bank account, you can do it. Sometimes it's complicated. For example, in case of the online banks, you either need to find that specific ATM where you can deposit money, or you need to do it through a post office or through some other service. But it's possible. I'm not sure if you want to deposit cash to Revolut, if it's somehow possible. but people paid with Revolut cards, and people transferred money to us through TransferWise and Revolut as well. So those definitely work here, but I'm not actually sure if they have any like physical presence in the Czech Republic. So hopefully, Kirti, that was good enough answer, but it was definitely a good question. Thank you for it. Agnello, Fiobanka is good. Share your experience. We don't work with any particular bank. We've actually changed what we recommend for like a couple times because we started with one, then we saw the benefits, then we also see the disadvantages. So we tried other, or maybe they changed the because we were recommending some banks, and because we, for example, have our company's bank account with that bank, so we kind of recommended it to other people because we were happy with that. But then they changed the rules and they stopped opening bank accounts to foreigners, especially if you don't have a valid visa here. So we had to find a new bank. And then we started to recommend the new bank, which was still opening bank accounts to foreigners. And then they changed the rules. So we needed to find another one. So this kind of changes. We don't have any like bank which would pay us to recommend them. If some representative of some bank is watching and you want to pay us big money for recommending you, get in touch and we'll consider it. But as of now, we don't, with all the things we do. We don't tell you any bullshit. We just tell you what we think and what we've experienced. Not always it must be the best thing, because we still have, in some spheres, we might have a limited experience, or we might experience something else than you. But we just always do the best to help and share our real opinion and what we really think is not really influenced by any companies paying us anything. Agnello, thanks for mentioning me. Of course, you're always here. You're my biggest fan. But you're not my patron on Patreon. How is that possible? Tell me, explain me. Les, hi Leslie, nice to see you. It's been a long time. Just let me open the. I have had my account since I opened it with you, and no problems in the last 5 years. UniCredit Bank. Thanks, Mr. Ankalina. Yeah. Thank you as well. Happy to hear that. Yeah, UniCredit was one of the banks we were recommending in the past because they were really good. And then the bank account, that's actually one of the in-between banks that they have enough branches, but you can still do many things online, and they don't charge fees for having the bank account with them or transactions if you meet some monthly requirements. So we were recommending them because people had good experience with them. And then they changed the rules. So if you're now coming for example, as a tourist, American or Australian, Canadian, whoever, without a visa, then I'm afraid that UniCredit will not open a bank account for you right now. So we started recommending some other banks, but I'm happy to hear that Leslie is still happy with the bank. So we're happy as well. Okay, guys, any questions? It's kind of late, I know, but it was very, very difficult day today at work, and I've had a lot to do. And I came back home like 9:30 in the evening, so I just couldn't do the live stream earlier. So I'm happy that you sticked with me until now. And if you have any questions, I'll give you like maybe 1 minute to ask it, and I'll be happy to answer. And if not, then I'll just be like weirdly dancing, as you know already, and then I'll go to sleep. Yeah. So maybe guys, tell me if you're watching and if you already have a bank account in the Czech Republic, what's your experience? What's the banks you have? Leslie. Also maybe guys will be organizing. You've probably seen us organizing or like being a part of JobSpin Job Fair. Those job fairs which take place every summer and I'm really tired already. Every spring and autumn, 2 times in Prague, 2 times in Brno. So for JobSpin Job Fairs every year, and we've been taking part in them for like years. In Prague, they're always in the AAU, Anglo-American University. In Brno, they've been in different places, but the last couple ones were in Zelný trh, in Brno. So we have now very, very interesting news. We'll be organizing a much bigger and much more attracting fair. So stick with me. I will definitely share some news about it soon. But we might be looking for some partners for the fair as well. So I might be talking to many banks soon, and I might get more insight for you. Agnello, good night. See you soon. Thank you. Good night as well. Good night as well. Sleep well. And wake up tomorrow refreshed and ready for the day. Okay, guys. Last couple seconds for your questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer them. If not, then I'll be finishing the live stream and we can go all to sleep. Yeah, and I can see it now. You probably cannot see it on Facebook, but on YouTube, you can see me here. That used to be me. I had like 20 more kilos and like a much bigger beard. So this is me. This is me now. Leslie, good night, Jan. Very nice scarf. See you soon. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's actually Darius, I believe, but I somehow misplaced mine somewhere. So she actually lended me, borrowed. I don't know. I always confuse these two things. So maybe Leslie, tell me what's correct. Daria lended it to me or Daria borrowed? Lended it, right? I borrowed it from her. Okay. Mystery solved. Okay, guys, thank you very much. One more time, if you're not part of my Patreon, please join. Patreon, if you're not aware, it's a platform. I borrowed it from her and she lended it to me. Yeah, she lent it to me. Okay, thank you. So guys, if you're not my patrons, please join me on Patreon because I share a special content there, and I also do Q&As once a month only for patrons, where you can ask me all types of questions online, and I'm all yours for 1 hour. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Good night, and see you on Thursday, hopefully in earlier hour.